Hello everyone, welcome to week 13's GT Sport Daily Race C strategy guide. We're heading to Japan. It's Suzuka Circuit and it's everybody's favourite category, Group 3 Machinery, or certainly one of the more popular categories in the game. So here is the detailed settings for this one. We've got 10 laps to get around, which is going to be quite a long daily race at sea. They are slightly longer than usual. Fuel consumption at times 2, tyre wear at times 7, and for the tyres this week we have the medium and the hard tyres rather than the soft and the mediums. I suspect that's just because the circuit we're visiting, Suzuka Circuit now on screen, is very tough on the tyres indeed, and if we were in the soft tyres I can't imagine they would be lasting much longer than 3 or 4 laps before they would be fairly useless. So yeah, Suzuka Circuit, I think it's been a wee while since we were here in Daily Race C, probably the Super Formula race maybe around about 6-7 weeks ago. That's quite a long time to not be at Suzuka Circuit in Daily Race C, let's be perfectly honest. But lots of good corners here, very tricky circuit, and it's definitely a case of trying to keep the car on the track as best you can, just as much as being fast. So for this one, the test car is going to be the BMW M6 GT3. Now, BMW is my manufacturer, so I drive it quite a lot. I've been really enjoying driving this car just recently, and as I always say, in terms of the strategy, the car doesn't really matter. The strategy that you work out for one car is pretty much going to apply to any other cars out there. Now, Suzuka is definitely not one of my strong circuits. I do enjoy driving it, but I do find it very difficult to be consistent, and I don't think I'm particularly quick around this track either. And you'll kind of see a few signs of my lack of consistency as this strategy guide goes on. But we're on the first of our strategies we're going to take a look at here. It is of course the one-stop strategy, and we are starting this one on the medium tyres, and then we're going to move on to the hard tyres. Now, I did do some laps on the hard tyres prior to going into this strategy, just so I could get some sort of idea of what kind of pace I could do on them with the full fuel tanks. That way I knew once I kind of hit that kind of lap time on these medium tyres, it was definitely time to pit. Now, we were doing sort of 2 minute 1.3 and 4s on the hard tyres when the tanks were full, so I knew I'd be able to do sort of around about 2 minute 1.2, 2 minute 1.3 on the hard tyres with the fuel a little bit lower. And once we started to get to that towards that point on our medium tyres, it was time to head into the pits. So on this run we hit that point around about lap number 6. I knew I was going to do around about a 121.3 or 4 there, therefore we should be faster on the hard tyres if we change at this point. So no cheeky comments from the pit crew this week. They have been put on a strict gagging order if they want to keep their jobs, but I'm sure they'll be up to their antics next week, so do take a look out for that. But this is now a wee opportunity to take a look at that pit loss and talk about the fuel. So the pit loss 19.6 seconds, and fuel is no issue. And as we come out of the pits here, we keep our car within the white line. I was actually watching a race from Erace's video collection where I featured in it, and he criticised me for crossing the white line on the exit of the pits. So when we exited the pits there, I made sure to stay within the white line. Just something I wanted to do. Maybe Rory might be watching this and might remember making that comment. So our lap times, to be honest with you, were pretty poor on the hard tyres here once we came out of the pits, and we did that criminal thing of pushing a little bit too hard into turn number 1 on lap number 10 in pursuit of a slightly better lap time, and we went wide. A very easy mistake to make, and a little bit of a theme of the video, and also what I think will be for this race, is people binning it. This is an extremely tricky circuit, danger around pretty much every corner, and we're going to take a look at some of the danger spots a little bit later in the video. So that last lap there, obviously not representative, we lost about 3 seconds, but it was at the end of the run, so really had no effect on the strategy. But you can see there from the finishing time, 20 minutes 37, so as I said earlier in the video, quite long for a daily race C. Usually we're around about the 18 to 19 minute mark, so it's nice to just have the race just that little bit longer. So let's move on to taking a look at that alternative one-stop strategy, starting on the hard tyres this time and then moving on to the mediums. But before we actually get to that, we're going to make another mistake in this run, just braking a little bit too late into the chicane. You've missed that braking point by just a few metres and you're going to go wide at the chicane. Another very easy accident to have. However, let's get back to the strategy. In this one we started on the hard tyres. We just did the 3 laps. I thought we'd maybe get 7 laps out of the mediums, just with the lighter fuel load. But to be perfectly honest with you, the tyres were feeling very second hand by lap number 9 and 10, which may well have contributed to that mistake we made into the chicane. Maybe the tyres were just a little bit too worn for what we were asking from them on the brakes. And again, this was a very slow lap here, so I think 7 laps are possible. Obviously you're going to try and get that undercut, get those hard tyres out the way. There is a big difference in speed between the hard and the soft tyres, probably slightly bigger than normal. Obviously Suzuka, a very high speed circuit, lots of corners, requires lots of grip. But we'll move on to take a look at the strategies in a little bit more depth a little bit later on in the video. I just want to cover a couple of things before we move on to there. And first up we have the MR cars. Now I did want to try one of the MR cars around this circuit just to see how it felt. In this case we're in the McLaren 650S. Now I do believe the MR cars will be very quick over a single lap and probably likely to feature quite heavily on the time trial leaderboards, but once that tyre wear becomes a factor, tyre wear's very high around here with the medium tyres at time 7 just because of the nature of the circuit. Those rear tyres start to burn out. The MR cars very quickly become very tricky. Even on laps sort of 3 and 4 you start to find the back end moving around a lot. You can see here my lap times have degraded quite quickly. That's probably a little bit of inexperience in the car at this time. I'm sure I could get them down a little bit more closer with a few more laps under my belt, but the inevitable does eventually happen. We come into turn 1, we lose the back end, we go for the correction, we get a little bit of unbalancing of the car, and off we go. And personally I'd be very much more likely to stick with the FR cars than the MR cars, because this circuit, as I'm going to demonstrate in just this little bit of the video here, is tricky enough as it is. There's numerous corners that can catch you out. You just put a wheel slightly wrong and you're off the track. I would much prefer to have the stability of an FR car over the MR cars, even if it means giving up a few tenths per lap. So you can see here just a few of the excursions I've had off the track during the course of making this video. Suzuka seems to be very slippery under these conditions, and as much as anything else you want to be quick, but this one's all about survival. If you can put in 10 nice clean laps, I think you're going to be doing pretty well just through that factor alone. So let's move on to this bit of the video. This is the bit where we put all the information up on the screen that we've garnered and we talk about the strategies. Now it is a slightly different look to this screen than we normally do. I want to just try something new, just try and freshen this screen up if nothing else. So what we've done is put up a whole lot of tyre data there, just give you an idea of how much each tyre degrades per lap. So that's the sort of the numbers at either side of the tyres there. Give you an idea of what I think the max life for the tyres are. In this case, the mediums, I wouldn't be doing any more than 7 laps. Although I have actually one of the alternative strategies there got you doing 8 laps on the mediums, because sometimes your alternative strategies, what you're trying to do is basically get away from the traffic and then survive at the end. And so whilst I wouldn't want to be doing any more than 7 laps on the mediums, I'd probably give it a go. If I felt I was getting so badly held up by traffic, I would rather just be out of the way. Even on very worn tyres, you can still be quicker than being in very heavy traffic. In terms of the optimal strategies, I think if you're starting on the mediums, 6 laps on the mediums, 4 laps on the hards. If you're starting on the hard tyres, 3 laps on the hard tyres, 7 laps on the mediums. Obviously a lot of the things that apply to most of the Daily Race C strategy guides still apply here. Starting towards them, certainly starting in the midfield or at the rear, I'd be starting on the hard tyres, so you're not sort of wasting the potential of the mediums whilst stuck in traffic. Towards the front of the grid, maybe in the sort of top 6 positions, maybe starting on the mediums and trying to build a gap up to the midfield before moving on to the hard tyres. Now there is a massive difference in speed between the medium tyres and the hard tyres in the early stages, in the region of about 1.2 to 1.5 seconds. So if you're starting at the front and you can use the potential of those mediums, you will be able to bolt and make a gap. And even though you'll be on the hard tyres at the end, you've possibly got some other drivers on mediums if they're doing the other optimal strategy of starting on the hard tyres. Their medium tyres are going to be pretty worn by the time you move on to the hard tyres, and the lap times are going to kind of equalise that way. But that is the strategy for this one. All the information is on the screen, but one of the most important things about this one is do make sure you keep the car on the track. It is such a tricky track, it's very easy to get caught out, pushed too hard into several of the corners on this track, and you're going to find yourself in big trouble. And I think you're going to see so many people spinning off the track in every race you're in. It generally is just pretty much the way that Suzuka works out, particularly once you move beyond Group 4 into Group 3 cars like that. But we're on to the lap guide now. We're heading down towards turn number 1. We're looking for the grey path on the left hand side, and turn 1, do take caution into turn 1. It's probably the easiest corner on the track to lose it, and I would recommend just going in there, taking it easy, let everybody else have the accidents, and just carry on your merry way, keeping it on the grey stuff. Into the S's now though, it's just about a case of balancing the car through here, using the brake as minimal as you possibly can. Round the last of the S's there, compromise your line a little bit of your speed so you get a better line through Dunlop, which we're going through now. And now we head down towards the Degners. Another very easy corner to go wide here and lose it. Your braking, or sort of your reference point, is the 50 metre board from the first of the Degners to the end of the curb for Degner number 2. Now up to the hairpin we come. We've got the curb on the right hand side. Reference is the end of the curb there. Take a nice wide line down into first gear, clip the apex, get the car straightened up and on the power as early as possible. We've got a long run up the hill here, so this is where the power cars will be favoured as we head towards Spoon. And again, Spoon, another corner where if you get it wrong, very easy to get it wrong, and you will be sucked off to the edge of the track and you will lose a buckload of time. You'll either spin or you'll have tyres so dirty that you'll be struggling all the way down to turn number 1 of the next lap. But through Spoon we come down now towards the fearsome 130R. You do have to give it a significant lift for this category of cars though, so the 130R is a proper challenge in the Group 3 cars, unlike maybe something like the Group 2s or Super Formula, which is just full throttle. And then just before the 100 board for the Casio Triangle, taking lots and lots of curb. Do be careful coming round. This is actually a corner of the track here. The back end can try to step out there if you get on the power too early, particularly as that tyre wear kicks in. But that was a bit of a lap of Suzuka. We're in the BMW M6. I'm really looking forward to this one. After a bit of a sloppy week last week in Daily Race C with the Supras, I think we'll see a lot more people coming back to Daily Race C this week. So do look out for me on the track. We will be doing a live stream on Tuesday, so please do join me for that. But if you like what we're doing on the channel, please do hit that like button, please do hit that subscribe button, and I shall see you on the next one. Goodbye now.